Federal Executive Council approves reconstruction of 44 federal roads. Nigeria maintains position as Africa's largest oil producer. Plus oil down 1% on another surprise build in U.S. crude stocks. This is Business Express on a network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, and we're reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Leokatung Babatunde, your guide. We begin the business of the day by informing you that the Federal Executive Council has approved proposal by the Ministry of Works and Housing for the reconstruction of 44 federal roads with a total length of 5,554 kilometers and a total sum of 1.9 trillion naira.
The roads that are being that will be under this first phase are the Benin-Asaba corridor, Abuja-Lokoja, Onitsha, Owerri, Aba, Shagamu to Benin, Abuja, Kefi, Akwanga, Lafia to Makurdi, Kano, Maiduguri, as the Kano Shauri, Enugu to Port Harcourt, Lagos, Ota, Abeokuta, and Lagos, Badagry, Seme.
And 12 days before the expiration of the deadline, the Central Bank of Nigeria has taken the sensitization on the redesigned naira notes to open markets in Akure, urging traders and the general public to embrace the redesigned 200, 500 and 1,000 naira denominations for optimal transactions. Tony Bature reports.
The Central Bank of Nigeria chose urban markets Akure for the sensitization because of the large population. Rolling out the benefits of the redesigned Naira note, Assistant Branch Manager of the Central Bank of Nigeria in Ondo State, Samuel Ademola, explained that it will help, among others, in controlling inflation, fight corruption, minimize hoarding, and help in implementation of the monetary policy. He also explained the enhanced features of the new notes, urging them to deposit the old notes as soon as possible in commercial banks, as there is no limit to the amount to be deposited on or before January 31st, 2023.
Notice that there are a lot of counterfeits, even in the system already. But that is why we are doing this sensitization, so that we can show you the original note and the one that is not original.
Some of the market women appreciated the gesture of the CBN.
It's okay, but they should help us to do everything. It should be okay for us to receive the money. If we go to bank, let us see the money safely.
The traders were urged to explore other payment channels in addition to deposit in commercial banks. In Akure, Tony Batire.
Meanwhile, residents of Uyo, Akwa Ibom State are worried over the feasibility of the 31st January deadline by the CBN for the usage of the old Naira notes, as most automated teller machines ATMs in Uyo have limited supply of the new Naira notes, with the majority of ATMs dispensing the old notes. Evelyn Baduekbo has an update.
Irrespective of messages sent to customers by some commercial banks on availability of new Naira notes in the automated teller machines, limited supply of the new notes appear to be available for transaction. Some customers express worry on its circulation before the January 31 deadline.
The central bank has set 31st of January as deadline for collection of the old currency note. But surprisingly, banks are still dispensing the old note, so it was an issue of concern to me.
It was issued at the ATM, at the counter. So I got the new note. I requested for it, so I was given. So, but not yet paying in the machine. Other banks do not yet, but it's circulating. You get over the counter.
A visit to some few automated teller machines in Uyo reveals that few persons have come in contact with the new notes.
It's just the same currency, just with different colors. That's the only thing. No new value to it.
The banks are still sending out the old currency notes, so it might be difficult for them to retrieve the old notes before the 31st deadline that has been set.
We should make the decision and enforce it somehow now. Make sure all banks start dispensing the notes.
The customers are calling for an extension by the CBN to avoid panic before the stipulated deadline. In Uyo, Evelyn Badu.
Well, still on the Naira redesign, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, and the governors of the 36 states will meet this Thursday over the redesigned currency notes and the Apex Bank's withdrawal policy. The spokesman for the Nigeria Governors Forum, Abdul Razak Bello Barkindo, disclosed these in a statement posted on Facebook Wednesday. The CBN had in October last year announced the redesign of 1,000 Naira, 500 Naira, and 200 Naira notes. It also set January 31 as a deadline for the withdrawal of old Naira notes from circulation, which is 12 days before the expiration of the deadline. The two parties will meet to discuss the impact of the redesigned Naira notes and the withdrawal policies that had generated mixed reactions in the country. Now, after running the 5,000 Naira third-party motor insurance premium for about 19 years, the National Insurance Commission (NICAM) at the twilight of 2022 announced an increase which became effective on January 1, 2023. The reactions that greeted the announcements were not unexpected, as many people believe that raising the premium by 200% was not only high but came at a wrong time. But while admitting that there is no particularly good time to raise a fee, insurance practitioners are concerned that the focus of most commentators on the premium increase has been the hike rather than the attendant benefits. And so joining me in the studio to discuss what the new rates portend for the industry and the economy at large is an insurance and risk management consultant, Dr. Samuel Chukwuma Onyeka, who is also a seasoned legal practitioner. He is currently the principal consultant and CEO of ISG Consulting Limited, a frontline insurance and risk management consulting firm. You're welcome, Doctor, to Business Experts.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah, great. I hope the cold is not affecting you much.
No, that's all right.
Okay, great. Yeah. So perhaps we start by looking at the whole idea of this 200% rise. We spoke to some experts. They say it's not just about one side with feeling the pinch, the money increasing. There is actually a positive side to it. What's that positive side?
All right, thank you. I think the best way to begin is to go to the beginning. The insurance of motor vehicle third party became compulsory in Nigeria by virtue of the provisions of the Motor Vehicle Third Party Insurance Act of 1945, which became operational in 1950. Nigeria is not the only country that operates a compulsory motor vehicle third party insurance. It began many years ago. Denmark started it in 1918. Norway joined in 1927. The UK in 1930. India 1937. And Nigeria joined in 1950. Now, it is actually an offense under our law for anyone to use a motor vehicle on the road or permit the use of the motor vehicle on the road without there being, in relation to the use of the vehicle, a policy of insurance. So it's an offense, and it's enforced. The law is enforced. Now, the law provided for scope of that requirement, which is in relation to death or bodily injury. Now, what we are saying is that while it is not compulsory for you to insure your motor vehicle if you buy it and you park it in your car, in your house, but if you are going to use it on the road, it has the potential to cause injury or death. It may also damage property belonging to third party. Now, it became necessary for government to do so to protect the interests of road users. Now, instead of the vehicle owner to put some money aside to take care of liability that he may incur, he passes this liability on to insurance companies. Now, insurance companies are not charity institutions. Insurance companies are operating a business model that enables them to collect premium, and then out of the premium they collect, they settle claims. So if the insurer will be able to settle claims at all, he must have sufficient premium to settle the claims. Now, the history of third-party motor vehicle insurance in Nigeria is that most of the claims are not settled. And this is why people find it content to get any kind of paper to pass the police, because it's a law and the police will enforce. So if you show police you have evidence of an insurance policy, whether it is registered insurance or not, police may not even know. And so there are cases of fake insurance everywhere. Now, the genuine insurance policy will only be able to settle if the insurer has collected sufficient premium. Now, the way insurance business is designed is that in fixing premium, there are elements. The first element is what we call risk premium. This is the actual amount that the insurer will make available to settle claim in the event of crystallizing of the event insured against. Now, he also has provision for an administrative cost because he runs the pool, so he has to have some costs in running it. So he makes provision for administrative cost. Now, apart from that, also there is a margin for profit. So if you are talking about premium, you have the risk premium, the charge, and then profit element. Now, if you actually put this together, no insurance company anywhere in the world will give you a policy of third party for 5,000 naira. That's the truth. Yes. Now, only in Nigeria that is possible. But that is not even all the story. If you look at the law in 1945, which became operational in 1950, the scope of cover that was provided was just for death and bodily injury. Now, sometime in the 80s and 90s, it became fashionable for most jurisdictions to introduce liability for third-party property damage. Now, what we mean by this is, apart from the potential or capacity or possibility to kill somebody with a vehicle on the road or causing injury, one is also capable of running into another vehicle and damaging it. One can also run into other public structures, if you like. And so it became fashionable to introduce what is called third-party property damage. And by the way, third party is anybody who is not insured or the insurer, because the insurance contract is essentially between the insurer and the insured, the first and second party. So anybody who is not insured or insurer becomes a third party if it's going to be likely to be injured by reason of the use of the vehicle. In this case, Motor Vehicle Third Party Insurance Act. Now, what's happened is that National Insurance Commission, as the regulator, is given the power to either approve rates of premium in relation to non-compulsory insurances. But in relation to compulsory insurances, the regulator is given power to fix the premium under Section 52 of National Insurance Commission Act 1997. Now, in that case, what has happened is that the regulator, in an effort to protect the interests of road users, policy holders, and the public who are likely to be injured by reason of use of vehicle, have fixed this rate. When the rate was fixed about 19 years ago, it didn't capture this third-party property damage that became fashionable now and is part of compulsory third-party insurance. Number two, we have what is called ECOWAS Brown Card cover. Now, by reason of the Treaty of ECOWAS that brought West African countries together economically and otherwise, one of the incidents is free movement of people. And how do you move people? You use vehicles to move people. So what it means is that I can drive my vehicle from here to Ghana and nobody will stop me. So you cannot do that except you have ECOWAS bank card cover, which gives you protection while you are in any of the ECOWAS countries. Now, the condition right now is that any third-party policy that is going to be issued in anywhere within the ECOWAS jurisdiction must have what is called automatic ECOWAS bank card cover. Now, these are the things that the Commission has factored into the so-called increment. Now, in addition, the third-party property cover that was provided under Section 68(1) of the Insurance Act, which extended the scope of cover as provided by the Motor Vehicle Third-Party Insurance Act of 1945, now means additional payments in terms of premium. So what it means is that what you are now paying for is for additional increase that the Commission has done in relation to third-party property damage limits that has been increased. You're also talking about ECOWAS bank card cover that becomes automatic. So what I'm saying is that from what has happened, there is actually no increase because the public is getting automatic ECOWAS protection.
A lot will say that they actually do not travel outside the country, one, and then there's also the issue of we don't even get to access this when things happen. We just pay out of the pocket and life goes on.
Yeah, there are two issues that you have raised now. The first issue is not traveling. You don't know when you're going to travel. So if you don't have it, what it means is that upon entering the new jurisdiction, you must buy the cover there. You must buy it. So it will be naturally higher. So it's advantageous for you to have it because you don't know when you may move. That's one. Then two, in the issue of assessing payment, like I said from my introduction, the reason it was difficult in the past to have payments under third-party cover is because the insurer must have sufficient leeway to settle claim. That's premium. So if you pay, for example, 5,000 and there is a loss, that is an accident that caused death, and we are talking of death of a professional, for example. Now, if the cost is 100 million, it is still out of the 5,000 that you pay the cost. Okay. If somebody is injured and he needs to be treated abroad, it is still from the 5,000 that the insurer will settle the claim. But what is more interesting now is because in relation to third-party property damage, inflation and all other considerations have affected the cost of repair. The average cost of vehicles on the road, some of them are 15 million, 20 million. So what the insurer is paying now is 1 million under the 5,000 arrangement. So if you are going to protect me, if I injure somebody or hit somebody's vehicle, there must be sufficient capacity by the insurer to be able to fix the vehicle that I have destroyed. That's what we are saying. So, and it became necessary to increase that limit. For private motor, it has increased from 1 million to 3 million, and in that order for other categorizations within the arrangement. So essentially, it's very good for the public.
Okay. Yes. I want to take this last question before I let you leave. Is there any outlook to say, okay, this is how much we expect the sector to raise this year, or how much would be expended? Is there any forecast to that regard? Well, usually you can look at what happened last year or 2 years before. You can have an idea. Where the insurance industry is today is not where it ought to be, but every effort is being made, both the operator and the regulator, to ensure that insurance is adding value and increasing in terms of total gross premium. So we are expecting something in essence of $2 billion. Oh, wow. Yes, for the coming year, and I think they have all the capacities to do that, considering the size of the industry. They can do better, but they can do something like that. Well, that's impressive. I must sincerely thank you, Dr. Samuel, for coming on the program, and I hope when I bash someone, if it happens, I will just call you to tell me what to do.
Yeah, but it's important to also mention that I also am at the head of an NGO, insurance sector specific NGO, Transparent Protection Limited. Part of what we do is to help people recover losses once they have genuine insurance cover.
Okay, so I'm talking to the right man.
Oh, sure. You can call upon us any day, and we're going to give you all the support that you need. We want to make insurance grow. That's our mission.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully it will grow.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So going forward, access to relevant medical information, treatment, privacy, and safe and secured environment for patients seeking medical service at the Federal Medical Center, Jabi, will no longer be a problem. This is because the document Patients' Bill of Rights, launched in 2018, has now been unveiled and domesticated by the Federal Medical Center. Charles Alpha reports.
Right to receive urgent, immediate, sufficient intervention and care in the event of an emergency is just a fraction of the Patients' Bill of Rights launched in 2018 by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. It was meant to give healthcare seekers opportunities to demand and hold health professionals accountable for whatever service rendered. Though its domestication is yet to be fully embraced by some facilities, the Federal Medical Center, Jabi, is one of those that are prepared to take responsibility by unveiling and domesticating the bill for transparency and efficiency.
Domesticating this special bill of rights is just to formalize our service contract with the patients.
Essentially, what they're saying to the patients and the families of the patients and everybody who visits is that, look, we owe you these obligations and you're entitled to hold us accountable.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Federal Ministry of Health, and ACE Associates are intensifying advocacy on sensitization on the importance of the domestication.
Before now, the domestication has been considerably low, and that's why the FCCPC is very desirous to ensure that this bill or this right is in every nook and cranny of the country.
Patients are hopeful that domestication of the bill will spur health facilities and professionals in giving their best and ridding of quacks in the system. Charles Alpha.
And so let's see the prices of commodities from the global market scene. The equities market in Nigeria closed Wednesday on a negative note, cancelling Tuesday's gains. The NGX All-Share Index depreciated by 0.16% to close at 52,615.51 points. Market capitalization dropped to 28.65 trillion naira. 217.9 million shares exchanged hands by investors on the floor of the exchange, valued at 4.471 billion naira in 3,377 deals. The financial services industry topped the activity chart with Sterling and Zenith banks leading in terms of volume. Next is a look at the global markets.
The markets are heading for a negative open Thursday as investors gauge the economic outlook, a topic high on the agenda at the World Economic Forum in Davos this week. Shares in Asia traded mixed on Thursday after tracking losses on Wall Street overnight. In Japan, the Nikkei 225 dipped 1.44%, Hang Seng Index dropped 0.05%, while Shanghai Composite appreciates 0.40%. Stock futures in the US traded lower on Thursday morning as investors awaited economic data and speeches from Federal Reserve leaders. Futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 71 points. S&P 500 futures and Nasdaq 100 futures are also red. No figures yet from Africa as the markets have just opened for trading. Boss said able Business Express.
That wraps Business Express this morning. Remember to send in your comments, observations, and suggestions. Also be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. You can also communicate with us via various social media platforms. Don't forget, it is 12 days left. Don't keep those Naira notes with you. Take them to the bank. Business Express returns Friday at 3 p.m. My name is Leah Katumbaba Tunde saying have a beautiful day and God bless Nigeria.